And they're asking Facebook friends, who do you really be? Do you rock a monocle, or do you prefer an ascot? What was your high school mascot? It's the Friend Check Podcast, motherfucker.
It's your boy Joe, back with another Friend Check episode. That's right, I'm still going through my friends on the Facebooks to figure out who the hell are these people. Are we actually friends? Why are we Facebook friends? Who are you? Everybody's got a story to tell. I can't believe how fun these conversations have been when you really actually take the moment to get to know people rather than just superficially on social media. You really get to find out cool things about people and get to know cool people, and everybody's got a story to tell. And this one's no different. Aaron Moody is a guy I know. He's an architect. He's a volunteer usher where I work at the Performing Arts Center I work in, at the theaters. He volunteers at the Queen City Comedy Experience Festival to help things run smoothly, along with his awesome wife, Meg, who is a massage therapist from Minnesota. She's a big Vikings fan. He's from the South. He's a Clemson alum. Clemson alum. Anyway, cool guy, Aaron Moody. We've been friends probably since 2014 or so, or 13 when he got to Blumenthal. He and his wife are great fun to be around. Whenever I see them at the theaters, I make a beeline to them. Always check to see how they're doing. They come and check out the local comedy shows. They love improv. They love stand-up. They're just fun to be around. They're really cool people. And so we really took a deep dive on Aaron. I found out things about Aaron Moody I had no idea. I mean, we talked about global ADA regulations at one point. We talked a little bit about religion and things like that, which can be a touchy subject, but I think we were both respectful about that. We talked about when we had a Netflix special filming for Patton Oswalt and how that went and how that goes in the theater world. We delved in a little bit of that. He talked about meeting his wife, traveling to Antarctica, and even penguin sex. We talk about penguin sex, so you are in for a good episode. Get to know my friend Aaron Moody. Please take a listen. It's a long one. We blather on a lot, but you know what? That's what you do when you have a couple of beers and catch up with friends.
Let's go deep and explore. Are we just acquaintances, or are we something more? Let's find out. Let's open the friendship door. Who the hell are you? Why are we friends? Should we keep this going, or is it time for this to end? It's a Friend Check Podcast, motherfucker.
Bottom line is just a conversation between three dudes. One's smoking weed, one's drinking beer, and the other one is doing whatever he wants to do. You can do both.
Sober.
Yeah, but you can do whatever. You can do whatever you want. But I'm not hammered. I just I drank one beer earlier because I'm trying to fix my fence little by little, and it's a wood fence, and there's just some work. So I'm like sawing this piece of wood, this 2x4, this old shitty saw. I'm a cheapskate, so I refuse to buy a new saw. I'm using my old dull saw, and I'm old and sore and everything hurts, and I'm just like taking breaks. Also have ADD, so every 5 minutes I'm like, okay, I got to stop, do something else. Oh, back to sawing. And I was I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to go pour a beer. You got to have beer while you're working. Anyway, so that's why I had a beer. But this is by Noda, Lil Slurp. I don't know if you've had this. I don't know if you like hazy beers, Aaron. And Steve, I don't think.
I haven't had that, but I recognize the label, yeah.
It's my favorite right now. It's my favorite beer.
Nice. I'll have to try it out. I do like the hazy, juicy stuff. I don't like straight up IPAs. It's too much hops, but the citrus I find, or the fruit, really kind of cuts into it perfect. So
yeah, kind of good mix. I like the hoppy, but I also like the fruity, and I love the hazies. Those are my all-time favorites. But yeah, so anyway, but as I was saying, anything is open. We can just talk and bullshit and see where it goes, and but the idea of the podcast, I'll kind of explain as I do, or I have been, is I noticed one day that I use Facebook. I use a lot of social media, not all of them. I don't really understand the more fancier ones. Instagram, I can barely do. Snapchat, I never figured that out. Twitter, I do a little bit, just watch news or whatever. TikTok, I'm trying to figure out. But Facebook is kind of like, I guess, our generation's sort of go-to. I say our generation, assuming you're our age, Aaron. Like we're 46, Stephen. Or actually, see, you're 47 now, right?
47. I'm
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Er,
So we're Gen X, but it seems like we use it a lot. Anyway, one day I was just noticing that, I don't know, I'm not really sure how to approach the friend list thing on Facebook. So I started getting requests from people I don't know. I guess they have a need to want to know me because other comedians are telling them, "Oh, this guy will book you. Oh, this guy does the Blumenthal shows. Just friend him on Facebook and he'll." But I'm like, Facebook's not for that. It hasn't been anyway. LinkedIn is that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know you. Like if I don't know you, but now I'm like, is there an obligation to all these comedians? Do I need to add them and then look at their stuff? And if I like them, some people I don't see any of their. I have 1,400 friends now, and I don't know. It's gotten out of control. So my idea is like I'm going to go through the entire list, and if I can get everybody on, that's fine. Some people won't want to do it. We have Aaron Vasco doesn't want to do it. He's a guy we went to high school with, and he's just like, that's not my thing, brother. I love you, brother, but I don't want to do a podcast. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then we decided at the end of the conversation, like, does it make sense for us to stay friends, or should we just go our separate ways and pare down this friend list? And because I want to, and it's interesting what happens with the people we've connected to and talked, because once you kind of mess with somebody's Facebook profile, you start seeing their posts again. Like,
the algorithms,
the algorithm like thinks it's like for some. So if I refresh every single person, what will that break the algorithm, or will somebody go back down to the bottom? Or I don't know. It's like that's part of the reason. And for me, it's interesting to find out from others, like, how do you use social media? Do you only add people you know, or do you even people you do not want to add because you want to keep a certain group? Like, some people want to act a certain way on Facebook and say certain things and vent. I don't need everybody seeing this stuff. I don't need my coworkers hearing what I'm saying. I'm always amazed when I see people bitch about work. Like, Brenda at work's a fucking bitch. I'm like, don't you think she can see that? Unless you're really, like, I don't know. So with that said, Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Who is Aaron Moody?
Well, let's see. I'll start out with the part that the connection you and I have, Joe. So I actually predate you at the Blumenthal by not very long, but just a little bit.
Okay.
So my wife Meg and I, we started volunteering at the Blumenthal back in, it was like 2013, 2014, the summer of 2014.
Okay.
And I remember Andy was saying, yeah, my brother's going to be moving to Charlotte and going to come work for the Blumenthal.
Okay. Well, this is where you have it. You have it a little backwards, because Andy's the one who moved.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Yeah, Andy's brother Joe moved. Yep.
No, Andy moved. I was the one who was here first.
You're right.
Yeah.
See, that's how long it's been. Gotcha.
It's been so long. So I was there saying my brother Andy
right.
is coming. So Andy moved in 2014.
I predate Andy. Yeah.
There
we
Andy.
go.
So I was there in 2012. I would say you could have, but I feel like I remember you guys started.
No, I did.
But yeah.
No, you were here before us. It was your brother that I remember when he first came. So
that's right. Yeah. That's okay. But people get us mixed up all the time. Yeah. So
I just couldn't remember who had moved here first. Exactly. Yeah. So long at this point,
and for me, it's just that he moved here to be closer to this side, because my family's up in Ohio. So he's the one who lived out in LA. So I came down from Ohio probably just before you guys started, because if you started 2013, I started in 2012, the end of 2012. So probably a few months before you. I was probably brand new. Anyway, but so you became a volunteer usher in Charlotte, but you lived in Charlotte for a while, right?
I'd lived in Charlotte for almost 10 years before that. So I moved to Charlotte in 2005, right after college.
Oh, okay. And, so you graduated in 2005. Where'd you graduate from?
Clemson.
Oh, Clemson! You're a Clemson Tiger.
Yep, I'm a Clemson guy. Yep.
Yes, that's right.
So
now, is that where you met?
One of those graduated on Friday, moved over the weekend to Charlotte, and been here ever since.
Did you have a job? You had a job lined up already?
No, I had a apartment. I was subletting an apartment from somebody for 2 months that had moved out a little bit early, so I had a place to crash for the summer while I looked for a job, and interviewed in a lot of places around the area, not just Charlotte. But just in the summer that I was there, I really kind of fell in love with it. So when I landed a job or got an offer for a job here in Charlotte, accepted it, and been here ever since. So.
Are you at that same job you started at?
No. I've definitely hopped around a little bit. So, And I did go back to that job at one point. So.
Oh, you did? The original one? Clemson, really quick. And Steve, jump in if you have any questions that pop to your head. But with Clemson, my buddy Rich went to Clemson. He's a diehard Clemson fan. Of course, he graduated way before us. He's I think he was in the high school class of 87 or something. So he went way. But I always like hearing him tell stories of like who he rubbed elbows with, what football players he knew or whatever. So any big athletes that you ever met while you're at Clemson?
I never befriended anybody or knew anybody that was on any of the sports teams. The closest thing I had to that was I remember there was a guy on the basketball team that was in the architecture program a couple years behind me. And I remember it was obviously the ACC tournament, or maybe it was even March Madness, but he wasn't around, even though we had like some big deadlines going on with school. And I remember when I heard that someone from the basketball team was an architecture program, I just could not believe that they were being able to juggle both of those things.
Yeah. Because the architecture thing's pretty intense, huh? Yeah. So you probably can't.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, even I knew people that were even part of fraternities, and I couldn't imagine with all the obligations there, and then everything you have with school. Because you literally, I think the most unique thing about architecture school in college that differs from a lot of the other programs is you literally have a physical desk in the building, in studio, that you can go to any time of day and work on whatever project you're working on. So, unlike a lot of the programs where you're kind of jumping from class to class to class, but then you're going to study in the library or going back to your dorm room or something like that. Like I literally had a table in architecture school in the studio that I could go to at any time of day. And we were usually there late into the evening. So
yeah, that's wonderful to have that freedom, to have that security, a workspace that's just yours. It's just a wonderful bit.
Yeah. I feel like that makes you like on a whole nother level professionally, almost like you're being prepared way earlier than every other profession. Well, I guess maybe not every other.
Well,
I don't know about
a workspace among others.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, you'll learn pretty quick if that's what you want to do or not. I'm sure you're like, if you can't do that, if you can't get to your workspace and do your thing, you probably can't be an architect.
I mean, the demands of the program that necessitated that kind of space sucked, but yeah, you're right. It was definitely nice to have this little slice of the world, within school that was kind of yours besides your dorm room. So absolutely.
Is the Clemson architecture program known for being one of the top architecture programs, or is it like a rigorous thing, or is it, what's the?
Yeah, I don't know where it ranks nationally. It is a pretty old program. So, it's got a long history. In fact, after I graduated, I ultimately had to go back and do one more year of school to get what I needed in order to ultimately get licensed as an architect. And I went to UNC Charlotte for a year. Okay. And that was a much newer program. And it was very interesting to kind of compare and contrast each of those programs and stuff like that. So, but yes, Clemson's has been around for in fact, Harvey Gantt, our former mayor here in Charlotte, he was the first, I don't know if he was the first, but he was one of the first black students admitted at Clemson, and
Really?
he was the first to graduate from the architecture program, African American. So
I don't know that
that's how long it's been around.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know that I realized he was an architect. I've heard of course, Harvey Gantt.
Yeah.
Once you live in Charlotte, you have to know the Gantt Center and everything.
Yeah.
And then I think I met Sonia Gantt is his, I guess, daughter or whatever. Anyway, she was on the news for a while. She's very beautiful. But she's in town and she's a philanthropist and a bunch of things. So, but architecture, I got a million questions with architects. I actually know a ton of architects because I don't know if I ever told you this, Aaron Moody, but I worked at an architecture firm in Chicago for a year as
No way.
basically a receptionist. I went out there for theater to do comedy and improv and theater, and I just got a temp job. And one of the first jobs I got was at an architecture firm called Hammond, Beebe, Rupert Ainge. I don't know if you've heard of an architect from Chicago named Tom Beebe, but he was like a big deal. He designed the Harold Washington Library and all like a bunch of museums and things in Chicago.
Okay.
And so I'd have to answer the phone and go, Hammond, Beebe, Rupert Ainge. It was, So Tom Beebe was like their big
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. And so I met a bunch of architects. There was just me and a bunch of architects, me and the accountant, and then a bunch of architects. And they were all cool. And I went to a couple of parties with them and stuff, but they were intense. Like they were all very, I don't know, very distinct and very cerebral. It seems like they all seemed very intelligent, but very just like focused on architecture. But it was kind of cool. And the one guy, the one partner would go smoke cigarettes in the bathroom stall because it was like right around the time they banned smoking indoors, and so he was always smoking. He always smelled like a cigarette, which is funny. But so I know a bunch. I'm not in touch with a lot of them anymore, but a lot of them now have their own kind of architecture firms. Most of it's still in Chicago, but that was cool. So what?
Yeah.
How early did you know you wanted to be an architect? Were you like in high school, like, yes, I'm going to be an architect? Were you junior high? Were you elementary school? Like, I'm born an architect.
I'm born to be
I am one of those weirdos that knew very, very early on what I wanted to do, and even weirder that I actually like because who the fuck knows in middle school, I want to do this. You have no idea. I mean, I didn't know getting out of school what the actual, it's another one of those classic things, the school experience versus the professional experience are very, very different. So I remember being in middle school and gravitating towards that. And again, even at the time, probably still having no idea what that actually meant. But I knew around that time that's what I wanted to do. So
yeah, that's cool. So where did you go to school? Like, where did you grow up?
Grew up in Charleston.
Okay.
I say born and raised because I was born there, moved away from age like 2 to 10, and lived in a small little town called Greenville, North Carolina. Not Greenville, South Carolina, but Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah, right. Greenville, North Carolina is very small.
Yeah.
Greenville, South Carolina is
also Pirates,
also
if anybody knows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then moved back to Charleston and lived there until I graduated from high school and left and never looked back.
Never look back. Never go back. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you are a Southern guy. Like you were a Southern gentleman through and through. So where on earth did you meet your wife, Meg, who's from Minnesota?
I look forward to getting this recorded because this pisses her off so much, but we met at a bar.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You guys were telling me that.
Yeah.
That's right. You were telling me that. But
yeah.
For the listeners, I got to pretend I don't know that. So that's right. So you didn't meet her until after you moved to Charlotte.
So we found out after we met Charlotte within a year of each other. And in fact, apparently we're both at UNCC there was an overlap in when she was at UNCC and when I was there. And yet it took about 10 years for us to finally cross paths.
Oh my goodness.
So, Bad Daddies used to do a thing called Mug Night where you could bring any vessel there up to 40 ounces and they would fill it for the price of a pint of beer. And so we kept every Wednesday, we kept that going for like 2 years. And a mutual friend of ours started coming and then invited her. And I actually remember when I first met that. In fact, she got hired as the receptionist at the architecture firm I was at.
Whoa.
And shortly after her starting, I remember her saying, it's like, are you single? I've actually got somebody that, you might really be into. And so it took a little while, but yeah, we finally got a chance to meet each other.
Finally connected, you guys. Yes.
Yeah.
So Meg, for the listeners, will be on this podcast too, probably episode 920, whatever we get to, the M's.
Exactly.
Pending the shuffles.
Yeah. But we might not get to, I don't know. She's not on Facebook though, right?
She is.
Oh, she is.
But she's and you were talking, I don't remember if we'd started recording at this point, but you were talking about like social media and everything like that. She's definitely, women have to do this. She has to very much restrict her search settings because, God only knows who would come across that. But you'll definitely do one with her. Quite the teaser. I like how you're getting this podcast going and you're teasing people. Hey, stick with it.
Yeah. So that's why I really want. That's what I really want to do because I was just explaining to my kids what this podcast. I got to go record tonight. We're doing this new podcast, and they were like, "Oh, you and your dumb podcast." And I explained it to them when I first start the premise. They're like, nobody wants to listen to that. I was like, listen, here's the details. Nobody wants to listen to you talk to your Facebook friends. Like, listen, here's what the thing is, though. Like, we're getting down to business. We're really going to have heart-to-heart conversations. Like, should we really be friends or should we go our separate ways? Does it make sense? Why are we friends? Do we really know each other? And if not, who are you? But this is one where, Aaron, I actually see you probably quite a bit. Well, I won't anymore now that you're retiring from the ushering thing, but I see you as an usher at Blumenthal a lot. I did. And it was always, for me, it's always a pleasure to see you and your wife. That's why Meg is so fun and really interesting what Meg's whole background is. And I don't know if you want to talk about this, but being with, I got to say it right, massage therapy. Because she just told me, I've been calling her a masseuse all this time. I didn't realize that was a negative connotation. She explained to me that calling me a masseuse is basically saying I'm somebody giving happy endings, which I had no idea. I thought masseuse is the name. I thought that's what it was. So apparently that's not okay. So she's a massage therapist. That's a different thing than a masseuse. And I don't know if she wants me to talk about this, but doing the readings, the past life readings and things like that, which you don't get into that, right?
I do not. I will happily, she can make up money off whatever she wants to. And I've got no problem spending the money that for people getting those readings and stuff like that. But that's not my thing. So.
That's not your thing. So you don't believe in the paranormal?
Saying if there wasn't evidence of it that I wouldn't, but it's not something that intrigues me enough to get into it. So
okay, you don't even care. So even being in architecture, you've never had any buildings or anything that you've had to go in or check in that felt, oh my God, there's a presence here. There's something. It's creepy.
I'm sure I know I've been in some older buildings and maybe had to go down to the basement and, it gives me the creeps and stuff like that, but, never associated that with a spirit. I mean, ironically, I'm agnostic. So I'm way more open to this line of Meg's spirituality than I would have been. I was raised Southern Baptist. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's something this would be fun to get into if you're good with it. That's why I asked at the top.
Right.
If there's anything you don't want to talk about, just stop me and say, okay, too personal. But because I'm also, I guess I've never really thought about what I am, but I always struggle with the difference between agnostic and atheist. So atheist means you don't believe in God, right? And agnostic means you just don't know, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really believe in any of it.
I personally think most. Yeah, if you, I would actually say, I would say atheist is kind of the opposite end of the same coin. Like how can you be certain about any of it? So the good thing is I don't have a faith and belief, so I don't give a shit enough for to quibble on those. But yeah, exactly. Like I think atheists would define themselves as I know for sure that there's not something. I'm like, I don't know. So
I know that I don't know.
That's how I think how I am. I'm like, I have no fucking clue. I don't claim to be a smart guy. I am a certified dumb guy. How the hell would I know? But a lot of these religions seem pretty bullshit to me. Like seem pretty motivated by money and greed and quickly, like I can see through all of it. It's like, yeah, that's really true coming from you who wants my paycheck. Like, of course you're going to tell me I'm going to go to hell if I don't go to your church because you want my paycheck. Like it's like even the one, like my wife and I found one, like she was really into going to a non-denominational church when we moved to town. That's I can't remember what the name of the type of church it is, but it's like where it's open to, it's like accepting Unitarian, accepting of gays and everybody else. I was okay, that shouldn't be a good thing. But I still went and I was like, he's still fucking preaching and wanting our money. Like he's still got to pay it, give him our paycheck. And what does this guy do? He just gets paid to just make up these stories. That's great that he's accepting everybody, but he's still peddling this, what seems to me like a lie. It might not be a lie. Maybe it's real, but there's a lot of holes in it. So it's like, if you showed me tomorrow, I'd be, well, I'm a believer. If you had a more promising argument, not saying I know what it's not that, it's this. I don't know what it is. Just like you, like I have no fucking idea. So that said, this is where this might be too personal of a question, but growing up Southern Baptist, was there a moment that changed things for you or made you like done with this, or did you just slowly just kind of fall out of it?
Very, very slowly.
Okay.
That classic thing of by the time I finally, it's almost like, coming to grips with like your sexuality. If you were, all of a sudden realizing that you were gay, like you obviously in that case, it's, something that you were born with, but like, by the time you come to the realization, I think, it's been that way for quite a long time. So, it was very slow for me and just never, you talked about like, you ever go into some buildings and feel anything? Like growing up, never felt anything. Never, I'd look around, see people throwing their hands up and
at
crying
church
and all this stuff. And I'd pretend, and all that kind of stuff. But just never felt that connection. So,
interesting.
That was probably the first for me. But just, and kind of looking into stuff to your point, just from a rational standpoint, it just didn't sync up logically. So, by the time I think Meg and I were together when I finally admitted it to myself. So
really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were actually looking for a church and to go together because neither one of us was interested in staying with the place we'd been at when we finally got together. And same thing as you, we'd go check out a new church and I would just on the drive home, just kind of critique whatever the guy was talking about. And so I think when I finally said, I was like, here's where I am and I'm not interested in, looking for a church with you anymore. She goes, oh, thank God, because you've been annoying me so much when we leave. So I was like, oh, good.
Does she still go to church though? No, she's also the same.
She was raised, she was raised Catholic. So again, like she's very spiritual.
Yeah.
But it does not attribute it or associate it with a specific religion. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think you can do that. I feel like that's rare down here in the South. Like us being in the South, it's like I feel like it's something we all just avoid talking in small town. Like nobody kind of gets into it because it's like people start wars over this shit. So it's like we all just like I don't say a word. When I came to the South, I was a little nervous. Like, oh God, especially I'm rural. I'm in Waxhaw. Like when I moved to my neighborhood, the only like neighborhood thing that there is a Bible study. And I was just waiting for somebody to be like, hey, you don't go to church. What church do you go to? Why aren't you? Nobody ever asked me what church I go to or anything. So I guess it's like a private thing, but I don't loudly go, God's not real. I don't care. I don't begrudge anyone anything. Like my dad was in a very bad place when my parents split up, and he was very grumpy and mean and just miserable all the time. And then he found church. Like he found a church, and then he met his new wife there, and it like changed his life, and he became a different guy. And to me, it's like, that's great. If it helps people, if it helps you, I got nothing against it. Just don't bug me to go. Like he would still bug us to go a little bit. It's like, that's you and you need that and it helps you. That's great. I have beer.
Couldn't agree more. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if it makes your life better,
yeah,
then please. But the moment you want to impose your values onto somebody else, especially if your values say that somebody else's values are invalid or wrong,
yes,
then that was definitely one of those early things that just never rubbed me the right way. When it finally made sense, that was one of the things that clicked for me, that I was like, I just can't reconcile these contradictions. So
yeah, that's my big thing, is the judging others, and I remember, that's something I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone. I remember, because my grandparents were Episcopalian, so we would go occasionally, went to Sunday school sometimes, but generally we're a family that went, Easter, Christmas, and that. But my grandparents went all the time, and I remember my grandma, we have to go. Grandma and Grandpa want us to go. Grandma and Grandpa will be happy if we go. We gotta go. And my mom would drop us off, and then she'd go park, and we'd go meet my grandma. She'd always save the final pew for us, and then she'd come in like, oh, I'm so glad you guys are coming today. It's so nice for you guys to get some church. You guys should come more often. This is this is good for you. This is good, people go to church, all this stuff. And then she like proceeds to badmouth everybody in the church, like, oh, that's that lady, she's a bitch. Oh, this woman, she's a whore. That guy's a dumbass. Like this. I'm like, wait a minute, this is church. Like, this is all bad things you're saying. Like, you're just like, you're not being a good person. I'm not saying my grandma was a bad person, but it's like, this is bad behavior. And you're in the house of the Lord or something, where it's like, and then I started to understand the concept of people's kind of, I felt like I saw this a lot lately in society and everything after that, is people go to church to feel better about all the bad things they do in the rest of their lives. And it's like, well, I have a license. I have a get out of jail free card by just going to church. It's like, I can be a fucking asshole on the street, cut you off and flip you off, and go to church, and like, now it's okay. It's like, that doesn't seem okay.
Some people sing some songs, and I'm good.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like? I mean, that's how it felt to me. And then I remember looking
down, go to a booth.
What was that?
Stand up, sit down, go to a booth. We'll call it even.
And then the confession. I remember sitting next to my brother, who's 2 years older than me, Andy. Well, Andy. You guys both know Andy. So, and he was, I think he might have been either in college or close to high school. I'm 2 years behind him, so he might have been like his freshman year of college, and I was probably a junior in high school. And I remember like actually paying attention to what we're singing and saying in church, because we'd still go for Christmas Eve or whatever. And I just looked at him. I was like, what did we do that's so bad that we're apologizing for? Like, why are we, this whole thing, I am bad, you are great, I'm a piece of shit, you are the best. Like, can it be more like negative towards ourselves? Like, what did we do so bad that we're apologizing for? Did you do something? And he's like, I know, it's all bullshit. And then we just like made fun of all. And that's when I like really realized, like, why is this the way it is? Like, who believes this? It was written so long. I mean, and again, I shouldn't say it's like that, because it's, people are getting offended probably if they're listening to this, but that's just the way I took it. And it just doesn't feel right. I don't know. And there's just so much negativity and all the wars and all the like, be like me, believe what I believe, and gays are wrong and all that stuff. And I don't know. I guess that's, so that's about religion. So that
brings
neat.
you, exactly. If it brings you enlightenment, makes, gives you the incentive to be a better person, then absolutely. I think if it's, used from that standpoint. But I think the not infallibility, but just basically like honestly, I feel like I've read up in like the concept of the Bible being not a totems and just proverbs of like, you know, advice for how to live your life, but this like absolute infallible direct word of God kind of thing. That's where it kind of goes off the rails and creates a lot of the challenges that we're dealing with today. So, but yeah.
300 translations later, this time we got it right. This time,
exactly.
we know what the Sky King wants us to believe.
The Sky King, yeah, I love that. Steve always calls it the Sky King. Believe what your Sky King.
Sky Kings, you know.
What's the bringing it back to comedy? My favorite bit is Patton Oswalt's bit about Sky Cake. Sky Cake and Sky Baklava, and
that's wonderful.
Yeah. Did you work that show, the Patton Oswalt special that we did?
The one where the warm up guy broke the stage and we had to like wait around for 45 minutes for him to fix the stage. Yes, I was there for that one.
Yeah, he fell through the back of it. That's right. I totally forgot the guy. Actually, it wasn't. I don't think it was the warm up guy because it wasn't a lady who opened up.
Yeah, it was just the guy that came out and said, "All right, folks," like more like the MC than you're right, not the warm up act, but just like
it was that old man, right? It was an older guy. Remember him?
Yeah. Well, if you notice, that was the.
Go ahead.
That was the older show. He came back. We worked the more recent show, and I noticed that he had no ornamentation on stage, no nothing. Like I was like, okay, he clearly learned his lesson. But
yeah, so this is funny because yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you look at, and the listeners and Steve, if you look at Patton Oswalt's Netflix special, I'm sure he's had several. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's the one where he's like in his backyard and the backdrop is a house and he's like telling stories of his childhood and he's like it looks like he's in a yard. It's a house and the comedians enter from like the screen door to go out on the back patio type of thing. And it's like, it looks like a house. And it's kind of cool. That was done at the theater we work at. And we got to work that show and we got to paper the house. A lot of people we got to move up front. And I have a lot of friends at that show. Actually, our friend, Steve Drew, who was on the Gruff and Loud show, you can see him in the audience. If you look at that, he was in that and he's a larger bald guy, so you can't miss him. If you look at it. The funny bit is, to me, I really loved when that guy fell through the door because that guy, everyone else was great to work with, but that guy was a fucking asshole to me. I don't remember now. I don't remember the details, but I remember he was just thinking, Jesus, what a dick. I can't remember what he did, but he was an asshole. And you get that every once in a while somebody's either in a bad mood or they're just an asshole. It's like, fuck that guy, you know. It ruins the whole show. I love Patton Oswalt, but I hate that fucking guy that works for him. And I don't know if he was really don't know who he was, but then when he fell through that thing, I was like, good, that's fucking karma for him being a dick. I wish I could remember now you don't remember what it was that somebody did to piss you off. It's like, that guy was a dick. But yeah,
good that you remember. You don't want to hold on to that for that long.
It's good that I don't remember, right? Yeah.
What's your opinion on the thing? Besides that, the other thing I remember from that show was the fact that Netflix would not allow anybody to bring alcohol into the theater during the show. What's your thought on like the polished production atmosphere that I guess Netflix is trying to create there by like taking it away from, you know, hey, this just happens to be like the last show in my tour that I'm recording for my special, to now like you're going to see a TV show filmed, you know, and it's this very sterile environment.
It's funny you ask because I have a lot of opinions about that. That probably aren't the best.
I'm sure you do. That's why I asked.
Put on recording, but I'm gonna because I don't give a shit. But so yeah, I don't remember that being the case. I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I don't know that I was aware of it. That even goes to solidify my position of like, ah, fuck those guys. Because there is a real big disconnect between the Netflix filming, and a venue like ours. Like, I feel like there's this push to want to get it. Like we did Fortune Feimster's filming. We did Dion Cole's Netflix special. We've done Patton Oswalt. And I think they come to Charlotte because we're cheaper than a lot of other places. We're way cheaper than LA. LA, they got all the union, everything. And not that we're not union stagehands, but it's a way different thing. New York, like we're way cheaper. Yeah. But what we're not used to and our patrons aren't used to is just that, a TV taping where, oh, I'm not the priority. I've paid my good money to see a show. I've come to see Patton Oswalt. I should get to have a drink and enjoy the show. Are you saying I don't get to just because it's on Netflix? That's a little shitty. And they really don't care about the patrons because they're always doing 2 shows back to back. It's better, I think, if they do different nights. But when we did Fortune Feimster's show, it was part of our comedy festival. We had a 7:00 and a 9:30, I think, or a 10 or like 7:00 and a 10:00 show. And the 10:00 show didn't start till midnight because they were after the first one. They were like, okay, there's a couple lines we got to reshoot and redo and retake. And we're just going to do retakes between shows. And it's like, yeah, but there's another audience waiting outside to come in. Meanwhile, the bars are open. They're getting drunker and drunker and drunker. And they're just taking forever. Yeah. It's like, what is happening? Sorry, we're doing some more reshoots. Okay, we need to move this way. Take that shot again. It's like they're making a film. They don't give a fuck about the people in the audience at all. And we're like, hey, we're a venue still. Like, we have patrons that are getting upset. They're getting irate. They're getting drunk. They're getting tired. The second show's not going to be any good. What are you doing? And they wouldn't listen. So we got into it with them. Like, our team was yelling at their team. Not a good thing we ever want to do. So they didn't give 2 shits about that audience at all. And so the natural repercussions were that audience came in and they were fucking hammered and they were making noise and they were loud and they were interrupting. And a lot of them were Fortune's family because she's from the area. And she had to finally say, like, Uncle Bill, shut up. I'm trying to finish this joke. Like she had to like really do that. Yeah. Like, it was like, stop. Like, and so I would almost bet money that they didn't get to use the footage from the second shooting because of that. And we had so many complaints and people were upset. It's like, I don't know that I want to do a Netflix special. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. So, I
definitely told people after working that show, I was like, I would never be a patron for a next Netflix film comedy special filming.
Yeah. Is it worth seeing your face in the audience? Like, oh, you can see me if you watch that. Look at me. I'm in the audience.
Well, it's really cool to get to, like, we went to see Bill Burr when he filmed his special in Atlanta. And I remember him talking about that he did that because he was trying to do it, where there were unions and it was just the price was getting crazy. But, it's just cool to be like, to rewatch that special and be like, oh, I was there that night. I was there for that, rather than not even about seeing yourself on it kind of thing. But I'd never pay to go see stand-up comedy if it was getting filmed by Netflix after knowing, how sterile an environment it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like not genuine. There's just something phony about it. And then I went to, not even thinking about this, I went to the Netflix is a Joke Festival in LA just to go to a different comedy festival and see what's going on. And it was kind of the first one they did. It was really big. Didn't dawn on me that every single one of these shows that I'm seeing, spending the company's money on checking all these comedians, is being recorded for a Netflix special. So it was all Netflix specials. And so this one, and they were like, but it's in LA and audiences are used to this, I think, in LA, because they probably all go to talent tapings. But
sure,
I don't know how many shows I saw that they were like, somebody's like, what's the guy's name? Ron Funches.
Oh, fucking Ron Funches.
Yeah, Ron Funches. I don't know why I always forget his name because he doesn't look like a Ron to me. Anyway, he was doing a set, and he had like 15 minutes into his set. He was doing like a 20-minute set. 15 minutes in, they're like, his voice overhead goes, okay, cut. They're like, cut? Like, this is a live show. Like, okay, Ron, we're going to need you to leave the stage, and okay, we're going to introduce him again. Everybody act like
This is the first time we saw him, and he's gonna come out and do it again. We forgot to start recording, so we got to start over, like, or something. Like, what? And so he had to do his first 15 minutes all over again for the same audience he just told the jokes to. Like, so we all had to pretend like we hadn't just heard those jokes. For stand up, that's awful. Once you hear a joke, like, even if you've heard a joke already like a year ago, you're like, I already heard that. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And that's one of the reasons I don't like doing stand up, is like, to get good, you have to do the same set over and over and over and over, like night after night after night. And to me, after I say the same thing 3 times, it's not funny anymore. Like, is it even funny? Like, I don't even know where the joke is anymore. Like, I don't even want to say this anymore. So it's like old. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my opinion about the whole thing. Like, it's there's 2 different things. There's live shows and there's recordings, but I guess you have to have an audience there. So I'm not sure how to do it. Laugh track. Let's go back to laugh tracks, like Scooby-Doo.
Like, very obvious laugh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But not misplaced, like in Sports Night. You know?
Yeah, right.
The wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of NASCAR, is now live in North Carolina. That's right, nothing but NASCAR listeners listening to American Timelines. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime, anywhere, right here in North Carolina with DraftKings. North Kakalaki, baby. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code QCPN and bet $5 will receive $250 instantly in bonus bets. That's promo code QCPN for Queen City Podcast Network. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more, with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. I actually made my first bet already on Gonzaga. I bet everything on Gonzaga. There was a whole bunch of parlays about, I took the over, I took them to win, I take all this other stuff. So I'm excited to try it. And it was a free bet. I didn't put any money into this bet. Well, I deposited money, but then they gave me a free bet, so I'm using it. Very excited. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code QCPN and bet $5 to get $250 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code QCPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. NASCAR is not a sponsor of this promotion and used under license.
Steve, do you have Netflix?
No, I do not.
No Netflix. No Netflix for you.
No streaming whatsoever.
No, any of the streamings.
Well, I mean, obviously my internet connection might not be able to handle it.
Yeah, that's true. If you do ever get Netflix and you look at Fortune Feimster's Sweet and Salty, the first one, my name is in the credits at the end.
Nice.
Because they asked me as they were leaving. We're not leaving, like, we're not parting on good terms. We weren't happy with each other, my team and their team. But they were like, "Do you want any names in the credits?" And I wanted to say, "Fuck you, no." But I was like, "Oh yeah, put our names in there." Like the 3 people the 3 people that you were just screaming at. Let's put our names in there. So, but yeah,
you got screamed at for shit that wasn't your fault and actually hurt you. So fuck yeah, you get your name in the credits.
That's it. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. It's just a thing. It's like, but there's things I think we could put in place. Like, so if we let people know, hey, this could be a long night. This could be, like, I guess we just didn't realize the extent of the delays that there would be. So I think,
how do you pitch that to a venue? Hey, this is our plan. No venue's going to agree to that. At first, I imagine the reason why people in LA are used to it is that they do fill out those clipboards. You do run into that shit. I was lucky enough to know people that told me how to avoid it.
Oh, that's right. You lived in LA. Yeah. So I would think that, and everybody in LA is an actor or a comedian, and like everybody out there is trying to get in the business.
Other people feel like that's you ask them what they do, and it's not how they make money.
Right.
So that was my limited experience. It's like, what do you do? It's like, well, I'm an actor and a singer. It's like, okay, can you get me a drink? I mean, it's that joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's like a whole nother like tangent thing. So
Got you on your soapbox.
but I think you can avoid that by emailing people like, hey, don't even bill it as a Patton Oswalt show. Bill it as a Patton Oswalt taping. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't know till the tickets are sold that it's going to be a taping sometimes. But
then you can just pitch it as a congratulations, you get to be part of.
Yes. But if you want your money back, because you don't want to sit there and see the jokes over and over and possibly delay it up to an hour, then please, go ahead. But so that might be a thing. There's somebody else I think we're looking at, but I'm not sure who. I probably can't say it anyway. But so that's a good way. As we got way off track there, I don't remember how we even got to, except that you so Aaron is an usher for Performing Arts Center, a volunteer usher, just retired.
Just recently retired.
He and his wife. And they are the fun. Some of the
thank her for her service.
We thank her for her service. They are fun ushers that thrive in the comedy festival scene, because a lot of times there's like meet and greets and stuff, and you need an usher who's going to stay late and hang out and help guide everybody through that. And they're both really good at that. And then you guys support a lot of the local comedy shows. I see you guys at a lot of those. And it's always fun when you see the Moody's. Oh, the Moody's are here. This is going to be a good night, because they like to laugh and they're just fun people having a drink. And so just like very cordial, like just fun people to be around. So we always love when the Moody's are around. So that's always a blast. Like you guys were at that comedy show we did a month ago or so, and I saw you guys out there drinking wine. I'm like, oh, the Moody's.
The improv night,
improv night. You guys seemed, and you were like participating and giving suggestions and stuff, and so always good to have you guys there. So it's gonna be, we'll really miss seeing you guys. So that's why I'm glad you guys are gonna come back for the comedy festival, and just keep in touch with me, and I'll keep bringing you back.
Well, and we're looking forward to being patrons for a little while, because obviously we wouldn't attend a show as a patron if we've already gotten to see it by volunteering. I mean, that's the perk of getting to volunteer. But we've already got tickets for 6, and we'll come to Charlotte Squawks, and obviously want to work the comedy festival. So we'll still be around, but thankfully get to do it as patrons. And
you get to go home when the show's over. Not have to clean up anything and have a couple drinks during the show. So I think that's the best too. So cool. Okay, you went to Clemson. You grew up in South Carolina. A little bit North Carolina. You're an architect. Do you know who Mies van der Rohe is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that like something? Did you have to do like reports on Mies? Am I saying it right? Is it Mies van der Rohe?
Mies van der Rohe. Yeah.
Boom! Dropping the architect knowledge.
Boom!
I'm impressed. Absolutely. Yeah. No, he was definitely one of those. There were architecture history courses that we had to take in school, and he's obviously on the list. So less is more is his big term.
Okay.
When we did a trip to Chicago and New York while we were in school, and so seeing his stuff was definitely one of the big things on the list. So
okay.
But at the same time, it's funny, there are people that even after school make architecture their life, and they'll go to like architecture film festivals and stuff like that. I mean, I had to do something for a living. I figured I might as well do something that I love doing, but it is not like this all-consuming thing for me. So it's funny, like some more newer architects like, oh, do you know who so-and-so is? I'm like, no, I don't. So, he's classic enough that I definitely know who he is.
Okay. So I had to do, the only reason I know that name is when I worked in that architecture firm.
Yeah.
That the president, Tom Beebe, was. It was so weird because the other one, it was Hammond Beebe Rupert Ainge. Gary Ainge was the last name in there. He was the guy who did all the like talking to the peons. Like he hired me at the temp agency, told me what I'm supposed to be doing. And then And then Rupert was the guy, Rupert Ainge. Rupert was the guy just smoking in the bathroom. He didn't really talk to me at all. And then BB was like the big wig. He was like the president of the firm. Like it was his firm. Hammond was dead, I guess, already. So it was Hammond, BB, Rupert. BB was, he would just talk on the side of his mouth like that. And he was just like a short, bald guy he looked kind of like, who was the villain in Big Lebowski?
Charles Durning.
Charles Durning. He reminded me of Charles Durning. Like, just like
Nice.
just kind of angry man. Like, man, he would never talk to him. And then one day, I mean, he maybe said 2 words to me the whole time I was there. One day, and I was early on. It was like maybe my second week there. He just comes by with a yellow notepad and just slams it on my desk and then walks away. And I'm like, okay. And I look and he's like, got a bunch of handwriting. It's like 4 pages of just his handwriting. I'm like, did he forget this? Or did he, what's this supposed to be? And I can't remember if I had to ask him. I think I had to go follow him with it, be like, did you forget your notepad? You left this here? He's like, no, I need you to type that up. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to type this up? I was like, yeah, okay. In Word, in Microsoft Word, good for you? Like, I was like, type it up where? Like, what do you? And it was complete chicken scratch. Like, it was all just like squares and dashes. So I was like, what the hell is this? But it was something about Mies van der Rohe. It was like a thing about Mies van der Rohe. And I was like, but I didn't know what it was for or who it was for, what Mies van der Rohe was. So I was like, what's this word? Miesvand. Mies van der. Like, I couldn't even tell it was I was like, what is that? And the internet wasn't really a thing yet. This was 1999 or 2000. And so the internet was like new. You couldn't just like Google everything. Google was new. But I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. So like, what's Mies van der Rohe? And he's like, Mies van der Rohe, famous architect. Well, don't you know anything? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know anything. I'm an actor.
I didn't go to school for this. Yeah.
Oh, I just happen to fucking work here. And it was really, for me, it was hard working there because there was all these young architects that were the same age as me, like right out of college, their first job. And I'm like their peon that they're giving, hey, go get us some coffee, bitch. They didn't say that to me, but I was like, and I was really jealous of them because I was like, you chose a career path. Yeah, on time. Like, you graduated college and have a career path. I chose theater. What the fuck am I doing? So us theater people are your servants, so, and I was like jealous of these people that were,
I don't know about it, yeah.
Like doing what they meant to do and have a career that they're starting it, but
so are you, right? Like, you're doing what you want to do and what you feel like you were meant to do. Yeah.
But what I wanted to do, I had to do after my day job. So they were doing their, you know what I mean? That was the difference. Like, their career is their day job. They can do whatever they want at night. I had to go to their day job, do their grunt work, and then try my day job at night, trying to get whatever.
Gotcha.
Your day jobs for free.
No, I get that.
Until someone paid you to do your day job.
Yeah, I do my day job for free until I'm good enough at it or I know somebody. But so that was my big thing. And then I got really upset because they would come in on Fridays and be like, fuck, thank God it's Friday. Thank God this week's over. And I'd be like, you're an architect. Like, you should love this. Like, this is your career. You chose this. Like, this would be like if I was an actor, like if I was getting paid to be an actor, I wouldn't be like, thank God it's Friday. I want to get out of here. But then later I realized, yeah, I do. I mean, now that I'm in performing arts, I still like, I can't wait to not have to do what other people tell me to do. And I can just do whatever I want. So it's like, in my head, I was like, if you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. And I was mad at them for being mad about Fridays, but yeah, that's my Mies van der Rohe story. It's like, nice. Fucking type this up. And then the accountant I worked with there grew up with Horatio Sands. I don't know if you remember him from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what architect is that, but then I'm glad you made it that. Yeah,
he was the accountant, and he was friends with Horatio Sands. The SNL guy. So nice. That's cool. Architecture, yes, I love architects. So our buddy Nate Hurley. Have you ever heard of SSOE in Toledo? I think that's the name of it. I don't know what it stands for. It's some architecture firm in Toledo. I think that's where Nate works. Steve,
Okay.
he's a buddy of ours.
Okay.
I don't know. I just assume you guys all know each other and have some kind of secret
Exactly.
handshake.
Conferences and yeah.
So now let's actually talk about architecture. Like, what do you design and specialize in? And I mean, I know you did our office, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the upfit of the admin space. Yeah. I have gotten the chance over the course of my career to get to do a pretty wide range of stuff. I've done healthcare. I've done office space. Done higher education, so stuff on college campuses, things like that. I've done some more off the wall stuff, like a bio research facility in Singapore one time.
Whoa.
So got to do a lot of really interesting stuff. But where I'm at right now, working for a firm that does a lot of multifamily, hospitality, senior living. So all that stuff that kind of would fall under that larger apartment umbrella. When I say multifamily, most people probably listening are going to only, not know that term, but, apartments, condos, things like that. So
Gotcha.
but obviously that expertise, working on hotels and things like that, obviously is very applicable to that. So
Okay.
student housing.
Hotels, campuses, being able to meld living spaces and common spaces.
Worked on one project one time that was both. This was all one project. It was the addition to a student union. It was a new student housing tower, and it was the renovation of an existing residential tower, dorm room tower, and then also a classroom building, all within this one little piece of App State's campus. So yeah,
Okay.
to your very point, Gruff, yeah, kind of melding all that stuff together. So
Exactly. And then with the Singapore job, you have the background of what's needed for a medical facility for the senior living, which is wonderful.
yeah, the healthcare work that I've gotten to do, because exactly, senior living is basically a meld of healthcare and multifamily. So absolutely, that past experience has definitely helped inform what I'm working on now. So definitely.
Dude, and the rehabbing the old areas. Think about rehabbing all the dead malls in America to senior living facilities.
Yeah. Oh, there's the firm I work for now. One of the things that they specialize in is converting malls, the property that is a mall, into a larger, development with mixed use, multifamily, shopping, retail, office space, all that stuff. So
that's fucking beautiful. It's completely.
Yeah.
It's the bones are laid, so it can be expanded upon. That's wonderful to know that's happening.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think even now with a lot of the office space emptying out, there's a lot of people looking at how can you convert a office
housing
building into multifamily. Yeah.
Exactly. I was reading an article about an old high school that they converted into housing. I can't remember where, but yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about some projects. I mean, those classrooms, yeah, it's really easy to break those down into either that classroom's big enough to be an apartment, or maybe you split it in two and it's smaller. But it's basically it's a double loaded corridor, so you can and with windows on both sides. So yeah, school would be a really easy thing to convert to apartment.
Water is the next thing. Plumbing would be the hardest thing to put in there, I think.
Yeah.
So I've got 19 questions now.
Go for it.
But I guess with this new thing of office space being sort of a thing of the past, I mean, maybe not. There's this argument of, no, it's coming back and we need more offices. No, more offices. We don't need. What's that?
It just needs to be a reconception of office.
Yeah, it feels like right now most people are doing hybrid. Most people are coming sometimes. I think we have yet to settle on what the future will be, but it doesn't seem like.
Completely agree.
It seems like the days of the downtown office buildings, where everybody coming down to town, having their lunch, and then going back, seems to be over.
No,
Or-
it's definitely changing for sure.
or over for a while. I guess they come and go. So what is your like, do you have sort of an like what does your intuition tell you the next 10 years or so is going to be for like I don't know if you have to get specifics uptown Charlotte, but like the downtown area of bigger cities? Like, is it just that like these office buildings are going to become condos or apartments or what do you see? Other things like
I don't know if I've yet gotten any clear indication of what the future holds for the real urban core, like in the case of Charlotte, the area surrounded by 277. I was reading support or listening to some podcasts recently about how much San Francisco's hurting right now because they had such an influx of tech companies into the downtown area. And, all the infrastructure needed to support that with restaurants and places to live and things like that. And then during the pandemic, they all moved out and aren't coming back. And like, that's what breaks my heart about Uptown is I actually worked in Uptown before the pandemic and during the pandemic. Now the office that I'm at now, we're in South End, but coming out of the pandemic, I mean, it broke my heart because there were so many restaurants that had to shut down. I would go grab lunch from the places that were open. And I mean, they were just, the degree to which they were struggling, because, business was slow and people weren't willing to work with them and stuff like that. And so, and I to this day, I don't feel like Uptown has really, maybe the evenings have recovered, but during the day, like for those working in downtown, like it still hasn't recovered. Ladder Arcade's not full. Full force yet. It's really unfortunate. So I don't know. I mean, because the challenge with office space converting it into multifamily is, again, a school's really easy because apartments need a certain depth. It gets too deep, and then now bedrooms have to not have windows and stuff like that. So the footprint of an office building and the footprint of an apartment are very, very different. And so there's a lot of challenges with how you optimize that and make it efficient enough to make it financially viable to do that conversion.
Gotcha.
A lot of times I feel like they would almost rather it be a big enough building that they could punch a hole in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then have units that look into that interior courtyard and then units that look out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that way you can put windows on the inside. That's interesting.
Exactly.
Patio theme. That's a lot of Europe. Like that's a lot of the original early living spaces. But here's a thought.
Absolutely.
What the using open office spaces and buildings, turning them into some sort of green battery for the city space, like the use of water reclamation, internal filtration systems to try to clean it up a little bit. Maybe, something simple like solar panels or the solar covers on the windows. So your urban infrastructure is actually putting back in the grid. What do you think the viability of that is in 10 years?
I think it's all about the battery technology. I mean, I think the PV panels are certainly to a level of efficiency that it's viable, but it's just how do you, how can you cost effective, build up enough batteries to store that so that, because it's all about reliability and consistency. And I think that's the real thing with a lot of these, a lot of the sustainable stuff, like, wind farms are great as long as you live near a wind farm. And I think that's probably why a lot of, I hear a lot of stories about like places in like the Dakotas, are like there's cities in the Dakotas that are becoming like tech hubs. Yeah. And I'm sure, a lot of it is like cheap energy out there and stuff like that, but, and very affordable, obviously. But, the sustainability stuff's really challenging because you'd think that it would take off more, but every time I've ever at least been involved in a project that's tried to implement those strategies, it seems to be more for marketing purposes. And it doesn't seem like they're doing it because, oh my gosh, if we implement this in the long term, we're going to save so much money. It hasn't hit that tipping point, it seems like, where it makes so much sense. Why wouldn't you do it? That's what it's going to take. So
True.
I think we're headed there. But to your point,
But
what that time horizon is, 5, 10, 20 years. Yeah, just
chugging along
and I
until
feel like technology. Yeah, I feel like technology advances so much. Like, we might think it's 20 years off, but 5 years from now, someone might have a breakthrough that changes everything. So.
Well, yeah, and by then our evil overlords, our alien overlords will have taken over. So now that
Exactly.
We don't have to fight the robot overlords. I think that's what I'm hoping for.
yeah, the AI.
Any potential illusion will have to they'll come down, and then that's when we'll know AI has existed, because they'll stand up and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. These are my monkeys. You go find your own.
That's right. The AI Roombas will be in charge soon. Okay. One more question. I mean, we can wrap. If you're getting tired, just give me a signal. You're like, hey, this is enough. But Singapore, you spent time in Singapore.
Yeah, dude, more of that.
I got to work on a project in Singapore. I was early enough on my career. I wasn't getting to go out there for those meetings in person. So I worked on the project, but I did not get to go out there.
Oh, you didn't get to go to Singapore? I was just going to ask, on a particular project, how long are you? You're just a grunt then?
Yep.
Did you
I
drink
worked
any?
on a project in Singapore and Saudi Arabia, but both of those, I was just the grunt kind of doing the work back here in the States. And there were people getting paid more than me that were getting to go out there and actually rub elbows and see the project in person.
So is there any cool places you've gotten to go and rub elbows?
Not professionally. A lot of the work I've done has been local here to, Mecklenburg County and North Carolina at large. I haven't expanded my reach stuff that I'm working on projects across the country or even across the ocean kind of thing. Yeah,
Well,
it's.
Have you gotten to rub anything?
It's challenging working.
Yeah, say that again, Steve.
No, have you rubbed anything with anyone anywhere? It doesn't have to be elbow. It doesn't have to be.
I haven't had to do any of that to get. Yeah, to advance my career. Thankfully, it hasn't come to that yet.
No rubbing.
Well, it could just be for fun.
Yeah,
you could just rub things for fun.
Yeah, it could be fun to rub things.
Yeah.
So Singapore.
Post Me Too. I don't think so.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, we can't rub anything. So with Singapore, so what did you work on? Did I miss that you worked on was it a hospital in Singapore?
No, it's like bio research kind of stuff. So it was basically like a science and technology facility where we're designing a facility with a bunch of clean rooms that they could do any number of things in. So, exactly what each space was. It's more, you have these office buildings where any random business could come in and do this. You've got medical office buildings with the same thing, these general practitioners that you go in to see your regular physician, specific specialties, things like that. But then a building like this, they basically got a bunch of clean room facilities where, everything from microchips to probably, studying different bacterias and medicines and things like that. So,
okay. So I assume creating and architecting, designing a building in Singapore, probably a lot of different regulations than Canada or the US or something, right? So do you have to familiarize yourself with all that, or is it all the same?
The exact opposite almost. That's what's, I think everybody thinks they want to work on projects in other countries, but in a case like Singapore, a lot of international work that you do, you only take the drawings about halfway to where you would if you were doing it here in the States. And then you basically hand it off to the contractor, and the contractor kind of takes those drawings and builds off that with their expertise.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
The requirements, stairwells that you use to get out of the building if it's on fire, things like that. Yeah. ADA accessibility for handicapped people, things like that. There's far less pretty much anywhere outside the United States. So Europe might be the next closest, but if you're working on something in South America or in Asia, there's just not a lot of that.
you're not worried about all that stuff. So, and
I'm not required to comply with
I
that
should
stuff.
say, yeah.
It's not that I'm not worried about
Yeah,
it.
it's not the,
So.
yeah, screw the handicap in other countries is what you're saying. No, you're not saying that at all. I'm joking. Yeah. So am I right to assume that like any job, a job in Singapore and anything, the way it works is basically generally most times is it just that people put out a call for bids and any firm in the world can put in bids, or do you guys have a specialization that you're requested? Like, did the Singapore job find you and ask you to put in a bid, or is it just like you guys are looking for anybody that wants me to put in a bid? Like, I don't know if you can tell me that exactly, if that's too broad of a question.
Yeah, that particular one was, again, earlier on in my career where I wasn't really getting involved in the front end stuff right there. But from the other projects that I've worked on internationally, there really is no consistency, because the two things that are going to require a bid, if you do any work that's government related, has any government funding, obviously they're required to have an open bid, open proposal process where anybody theoretically has a shot at it.
Gotcha.
And the only other time would be if it's a big company or corporation where they have procedures and protocols when they require whoever's running on their behalf to solicit for a number of bids to ensure that they're getting the best price. But for as many of those as I've done others where it's just about relationships, and someone comes to you and says, I know you, I know your quality, I know you can get this done, and you don't have to necessarily compete for it. They're just like, I want to work with you. So,
yeah, like in any business, any
really
business,
seen a lot of consistency. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm so fascinated by that architect. So, do you consider yourself sort of like not Greg Brady? Who's the dad? Mike Brady.
Yeah, Mike Brady.
Like, are you Mike Brady architect, or are you? There's got to be another architect in sitcom history. Come on, Steve.
What, an architect in sitcom is? Nope.
Besides Mike Brady, he's the only one. It can be cartoon. I mean, was there an architect you saw growing up? Like, I want to be Mike Brady. I want to live in a house with a lovely lady.
Of the Brady Bunch, but honestly, I don't recall, of the few episodes I've seen, I don't recall one where I got a sense of, and for some reason in my head, I'm thinking maybe he was a single family architect, so definitely didn't want to do that.
It was something that he could support a big family with, so there's a sense of security.
I have no idea what he did. I just remember him being at the big drafting table.
He was an architect.
Yeah. I assume that was right.
Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother, he was an architect.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So
does that make you enjoy that show more?
Are there jokes non-architects don't get? Like, other than like a Frank Lloyd Wright thing or something? Is there like, does he use architect?
Oh, yeah, tell us some architect jokes.
From what I recall, they didn't scratch the surface too much on the architecture world, that I felt like they were making jokes that I was like, oh, I'm the only one getting this because I'm an architect.
Well, there's other architects that probably watched it,
Yeah.
Two architects walk into a bar.
I don't know any good architect jokes like I would know, like lawyer jokes and stuff like that. So
how many architects does
a lawyer joke?
How many architects does it take to change a light bulb?
Yeah. What do you call a bus full of architects that good start?
Wait, a bus full of architects that what?
It's a lawyer joke. What do you call a bus full of lawyers that drives off a cliff? A good start.
Oh, a good start. Yeah. So I think you, at least on my end, you cut out for a second, so I didn't hear the punchline.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. This is a lot of fun, man. I think I could talk forever about architect stuff. Like, I got so many questions.
I enjoy the Architectural Digest little YouTube videos.
That's why I think the thing about this that seems to be kind of presenting itself is the more Steve and I talk to people, We talk to people that have like do interesting shit, and they don't seem to think it's that interesting. But to us, it's like, holy shit, I've never got to talk to an architect before. So tell me about this. Tell me about that. So is there any like what's your favorite thing you've created? Like, do you have something you were like real proud of? Like, yep, I fucking did that church. See that fucking church?
Like a
I did that.
clean line in a window, just like it's setting up a perfect, like the way the sun hits a fucking common space, something like that.
Yeah.
Something simple.
Yeah.
Anything that gives you a boner.
Yeah, or just a slight encouraging.
An
Just a
architect
slight-
boner. Architect
Yeah.
boner.
So it's a metaphorical hard-on. It's not a
Yeah.
legitimate hard-on. It's not
Boy,
a.
Sure.
I made that.
Nope.
I got to actually work on a building on Clemson's campus, so that was pretty cool to get to kind of work on something that now when I go back to Clemson, I'm like, yep, I got to work on that.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
cool.
The one that I got to kind of really take the lead on down in Pineville, Atrium's campus hospital down there. There's a medical office building that they finally built right there on the corner, and it's got some really cool sunshades that we did a really cool design with. That was the one that I was the lead architect on that one. So
Oh, cool. So that's something I go
Yeah,
to
that's pretty fun
Pineville
whenever-
every once in a while. I can brag now. I mean, I know the guy who did that.
you know the guy
See that cool sunshade? I know the guy that did that. Boom.
Go to Google Maps, get a picture of it, slap
yeah.
it over.
Well, I'm just gonna make my kids drive there. Actually, I have a buddy who drives there. Our buddy Drew. He goes to Pineville Tuesdays and Thursdays for his daughter's volleyball. So I'm gonna check that out.
Shit.
We know the
Yeah.
guy that made that. And
Yeah.
I want to go to Clemson
Picture.
sometime. I want to go to a Clemson game sometime. I'll be like, oh, what? So what was it at Clemson that you designed? Can you say, or is it a secret?
That was another one of the. I can't think of the name. Obviously they name it after somebody, but it was another one of those like bioscience research buildings. It was over near. Oh gosh, I think it was past the library, out like you're heading to the golf course, like heading in that direction. But
Okay.
but yeah,
I won't know what any of that means. I'll just pick a
Yeah.
science building and say, I know who made that.
I'll
Facebook
text you the
friends,
name
your-
of it.
your
Yeah.
fri- Your friends, you can like reach out to them when you're there. It's like, hey, I'm. on
Oh, that's
fucking-
true. Yeah, I can take a picture if I ever go there. I'm like, hey, Aaron Moody, which
There you
one of
go.
these is,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Man, this was fun. I guess, but what I did, so Steve, I got to apologize to you because last time I made this list of questions that I
shit.
asked the last person, and I thought they were my original questions. And then I was listening to an episode of You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes, his podcast, which I love. And he was like,
Yeah.
oh, so you can pick any of these questions. Have you ever seen a UFO? Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen like all my questions that I have put down for this podcast? I'll ask these were all the questions that I've heard him do, and I subconsciously absorbed them, and I thought it was my idea.
Nice.
This is what we'll do every episode. So now I'm not going to ask you those unless you've seen an alien and you want to talk about it. Have you seen a UFO?
Have you seen an extra dimensional
UFO.
being that you're not sure of?
Nope.
Do you think Steve Gruff here might be from another planet?
Probably not.
Yeah, I remember from the Men in Black show, they were like all the aliens and stuff like that. I'm not saying Steve looks like an alien, but if we found out later he was, I'd be like, yeah, I could buy it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
All right, Aaron Moody, who do people tell you look like or you remind them of? What celebrity do you get? I'm thinking Brad Pitt.
Growing up, like this is when I was like maybe like 10, early teen kind of age. Me and Prince William, apparently, like if you had a picture of us side by side, like we looked almost exactly the same. So
I see a Prince
we both since
William.
lost our hair, so
Yeah, now that you
So,
mentioned that, I see that a little bit. Holy shit. You're the
Got the
Southern
I
Prince
liked
William.
it better when he. Yeah, I liked it better when he was a young kid, not now when like the centuries of incest are really starting to kind of like come in and stuff like that. But yeah,
You're just like a cleaner version.
Well, I mean, he could take
Yeah.
a page out of your book with the clean shaven head. Like the second I'm completely bald, that's what I'm doing too. Like that's my plan. It's like once I'm
See,
I'm starting to get.
I didn't even wait for that. My dad went bald, and he finally shaved it. He had the horseshoe thing going on, and he finally shaved it. But the moment it started thinning out for me, I got rid of it. So
Yeah,
I
that's
already
smart.
swore that was going to be the case.
Yeah, me too. That's what
Yeah.
I said. If I get that horseshoe, which I'm getting there, I still have enough on top, but I'm starting to get the little bald spot. Once I get it looks like a horseshoe. What do you do? Do you bick it? Do you like straight razor?
Do you have one of those?
No, the beard
Yeah,
trimmer I use here, I basically take the guard off and I just kind of run it over here and over the whole thing.
Perfect.
So I don't even straight razor it.
Yeah,
So.
for you listeners, Aaron Moody has a beautiful bald, like nice looking Bruce Willis style, but with a nice thin beard that's like probably reddish. Like, is your hair reddish, blondish?
I'd say very, very trimmed.
Very trim beard.
Yeah.
He's a good looking man. He's definitely better looking than both of us.
Oh.
Well, how else would he woo Meg Moody? Like
exactly.
he knows what she likes. And not everybody can just woo a Meg Moody.
No. It takes a lot.
Steve, I can't wait for you to meet her. She is a blast. Like, she is just. I mean, the mood. What's that?
I'm looking forward to episode 985.
985. Yeah. I mean, the Moody's are like they really are great, and they form like Voltron into the coolest Ushers. Like, they're just good people to be around. Like, it's just like they lift your spirits. And you're like, oh my God, Moody's are here. Man, I gotta stop what I'm doing.
It's funny. We say that about you, Joe. Like, if we're not like volunteering, not like in the best moods, and Joe shows up, I was like, well, I can't be in a bad mood in front of Joe. So,
well, that's friendship right there.
Yeah, they're like my Moody's will be like I'll be walking through a full lobby. I'm like, I just gotta get out of here. I just gotta go home. And I'll see the Moody's like across the. But fuck, I gotta go see a Moody. I gotta go say hi to one of the Moody's. And my first question to each one of them, whichever one I see, is like, "Where's Meg? Where's Aaron?"
Yeah.
Making sure they're both there.
The other Moody.
The Moody's are great. All right. Well, this has been almost 2 hours. So unless Aaron, you have something else to really drop on us. Some kind of secret that you're a murderer or you've committed a crime or you're going to flee the country or
you're
in the mafia. What, Steve?
Or if you're still a Baptist.
Or if you want to go back to the Southern Baptist Church after talking to us. But we do have to ask, we're obligated to ask, do you want to remain Facebook friends? Shall we remain connected?
See, that was just what I was going to ask him. Like, are we still friends, Joe? So,
yeah, I think
Joe, I think we're better than Facebook friends.
Yeah, we're better than
better than a Facebook.
Yeah, I do consider. Yeah, a lot of these folks. It's like some of these people will be like, I really don't know you. Like, tell me about you. But I consider us friends. Yes, I think. Yeah, you're definitely somebody I go and talk to and know outside of work, and so yeah, I think, of course, it makes sense. Like. You're somebody who, although I will say, I was not aware that you were in Alaska, which is that where you came back from, Alaska?
Antarctica.
Oh,
I get those mixed up. Antarctica's
There's a bit of a difference.
That's a big of a difference. Yeah, Alaska's up here. Antarctica is like, they're both cold. I've always got it mixed up. So Steve, remember when I first was reaching out to him, I was like, I don't know if this Aaron Moody guy, you don't know him. I don't know if he's going to do it. He hasn't answered any of my messages. I guess he's not interested. And then I Facebook stalked him a little bit. And I think I found, because Meg posted a bunch of pictures of you guys in Antarctica, but she didn't post them. She didn't post them until you got back. And then you were like, hey, I'm sorry, I've been out of town. And then I was like, oh, here's all these pictures. Like, it's proof that he really wasn't in Antarctica, so he can't I can't be mad at him.
Be mad.
Yeah, so that's shit. I should have spent all this time asking about Antarctica. So how long were you there?
Meg,
and highlights? Give me the highlights.
I'll tease it, but I assure you'll want to hear it from that's another tease for episode 938. But yeah, it was definitely adventure-wise one of the craziest trips we've ever been on. Traveling is a big passion of ours, so we've been all over the place. But the boat trip was like 10 days, so it was 2.5 days to get down there. We were on continent for 5 days and then 2.5 days to get back. I think just getting to be in an area where so few people on the planet have actually gotten to go to, you know, as travel has become more and more accessible to like be doing something that so few people have actually gotten to do and interact with the penguins and the seals and the whales and all that kind of stuff. Just see that wildlife so up close and stuff that's just not very used to human interaction and stuff like that was that for me just was definitely the part that was most worth it. So
That's awesome. Did you get to club a seal?
but yeah.
Ooh, nice. Did you get to use
yeah.
the penguin to club a seal?
Yeah, they, you know, I will say I wouldn't have wanted to do that anyway, but that was the thing that was really wild was the protocols they had in place to make sure that, you know, we weren't bringing anything from the boat or from our stuff onto continent or even stuff from the continent back onto the boat and stuff like that. And like,
Yeah.
you know, I've got a video at one point, we were kind of walking along. If a penguin started to walk in front of you, or a seal started walking in front of you, you had to stop and you basically were stuck there until it made by. It got the right of way.
Oh
So,
my gosh, that's awesome.
yeah, they did not screw around about that. They took that stuff very seriously, as they should. So.
Wow. So somebody somewhere cares about the wildlife. So
Yeah.
wait, I just want to make sure, Steve, that I heard your question right.
What?
Did you ask him if he used a penguin to club a seal?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I thought that's what you said, but with the phone connection, got to cut out a little bit.
No, yeah.
I will say, Steve, if one of those leopard seals had been charging me, I would not have felt bad about grabbing a penguin and throwing it at it to distract it. So
That's good. That's circle of life. That's just, you know, that's
Exactly.
already part of the day.
The circle of life. Did you get to see any penguins having sex?
no, because they not part of the trip. We were there, you know, you talked about was it cold, and actually because it was winter here, and so down the southern hemisphere it was summer, so it was only down to like 32 degrees, so it was just right at freezing. So when we were visiting Meg's family in Minnesota, it was tens of degrees colder in Minnesota than it was when we were in Antarctica, so it wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
But it apparently had been a particularly cold winter, and so the penguins, the first batch of baby penguins that got hatched too, or it was still too cold, and so a lot of them died off. And so this next batch, unfortunately, or maybe it was that's right, because they're coming out of summer, so the penguins, the babies that we saw there, they hatched too late in the season, and so unfortunately winter was going to wind up setting in before they got done with the molting process, where they basically like waterproof their coat and stuff like that. And so we're on one of the excursions one day, and you know, the ornithologist or whatever a bird scientist was saying, yeah, none of these babies are going to survive. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, certainly some of them will. He's like, no, every one of these baby penguins is gonna die. Like, they're not going to be ready when the winter sets in. They're all going to die of exposure. So yeah,
and they can't like intervene and like do something to save them, like spray a clear coat on them.
What'd you say? Circle of life, man.
It's natural selection.
Maybe some donor will come up with some money and they can smuggle them off to some zoo somewhere. You know,
that's it. They should only put in zoos animals who aren't going to make it out in the wild. There you go. We just solved all of. I always hate going to zoos. I'm like, they should be free, but no. If they were going to die anyway, put them in a goddamn zoo.
Yeah.
And then explain to the parent penguin that they're going to die, bro. I guess you can't do that.
Yeah.
Wow. Stuff I would have never thought we would talk about. Penguins, architecture in Singapore, Patton Oswalt's Netflix special. What episode?
Yeah.
This has been good. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, man.
Now I want you and Steve Gruff here to have a falling out. So go ahead and start talking shit to each other. No, I'm just kidding.
So I was gonna say, so what? We stay friends, but then somehow Steve and I have to become bitter enemies.
That could be a new social media enemy book, and then
Yeah,
you just
it
like
could just
only.
be, I can only be friends with people I'm enemies with.
Yeah. You connect with them as enemies. I hate
Yeah.
your guts. I hope you die. I'm only on here to like laugh at your death.
So I know the moment your relatives are sad about your passing. That's the only reason I'm here for. I'm here for the tears of your loved ones.
But now that you guys have interacted, you guys are free to become Facebook friends now, if you're interested in that. But you don't have to. No pressure. If he if Steve comes off to you as like sort of man, he looks like a man who is unclean. That's okay.
You wouldn't be the first. You're allowed that opinion. That's fine.
Well, Aaron, this is the time to tell you that Steve does have a hole in his penis from a Prince Albert that he used to have.
Yeah.
Now's the time to share that with you. You still want to be
right before we cut off. I thought I was going to make it through a podcast without Joe talking about my Prince Albert, but
Are you sure you want to be friends with this guy?
Are you going to sign off every episode this way?
Maybe this might be the thing.
Sometimes it's the first thing he says. Sometimes it's just in the middle, like he'll interrupt someone to bring it up.
This is my Prince Albert having friend.
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah, that's it. So what are you going to go do now when we sign off, Aaron Moody? What are you immediately going to do? Bathroom first or?
Dude, I'm gonna crash, man. I'm
an early riser.
10 o'clock is usually getting close. Yeah, it's usually close to my bedtime. So yeah, I might go grab an evening beer and then call it a night.
Okay.
I missed the memo with you guys.
I'm sorry. I should have told you that before.
No, it's my fault. I should have asked. Yep, I should have come prepared.
Well,
no,
do you want to put on your pajamas in front of us real quick? Like while we take some time? Steve usually at the end of each podcast, he gets completely nude.
It's something to cement the hatred.
Just kidding.
I'm good. I'm good with Joe just telling me about the Prince Albert and not actually having to see it. So,
actually seeing it. I will say when he first got it, we were in a bar in Chicago at a pub crawl, and I asked him to get it out, and he did. He got it out at the bar, and I was like, "Oh, geez, I didn't really think you would." He was like, I don't give a fuck, because that's when I was gonna say that's what I knew he didn't give a fuck, but I've known this guy since second grade, so
I stopped doing it from like fourth. So, not necessarily apathy, just general acceptance.
That guy knows me pretty good. Anyway, this has been great fun. Thank you for doing this, Aaron Moody. You have been the third Aaron and the first Moody on this podcast that will someday come out when I get around to editing them all and figure out how to do it. But I can't wait to listen to this in February of 2024 when I finally get to it. But I will let you know when it's out. And thank you for doing this. This was fun. I learned a lot about Aaron Moody.
No,
this is great.
It's been really cool being you, man. Thank you.
You're not upset with us at all?
Yeah, you too. What's that?
You're not upset with us at all?
Not at all, man. This has been a great conversation.
This was fun, right? I think this is fun to do. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Yeah, hey, this is my first podcast. I've listened to plenty, but I've never recorded one. So
sweet. Well, I'm glad
thanks for being so gentle.
We've popped your podcast cherry.
Yeah. Without even knowing we were doing it.
We popped it, and now Gruff's going to swallow it. Wait, that sounds dirty. And one other thing I like to do is end the recording abruptly in the middle of a sentence without saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Mushroom and Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music.
Thanks for listening to Friend Check by History for Jerks. Check out historyforjerks.com for all the cool shit, you beautiful motherfuckers. Gruff and Loud Show, Nerd School Podcast, American Timelines, and of course the Threadless Store featuring a Dabney Coleman hat. Only a total dipshit wouldn't want a Dabney Coleman hat. History for Jerks. You're the jerk. We bring the history.